stay strong in your artistry because that's what keeps you grounded. That's kind of what keeps you whole.
Welcome to the Passion Behind the Art Show. It's all about diving in with individuals to learn the story behind their passion. It's your host, Daryl Pinnock. All right, I am pretty excited to have with me Mark Meadows on the Passion Behind the Art Show. A great musician, and I'm excited to hear his story. Mark, welcome.
I'm so glad to be here with you, my brother.
How did Mark's journey start into music?
Oh man, well I was about 5 years old when my dad first took me to Rosalie Levant, who was a very classical Russian piano teacher, in Dallas, Texas. And he actually lied to her. He told her I was 6 because she wouldn't start lessons before the age of 6. But he really wanted me to take with her because she was world renowned and very acclaimed. And she told her I was 6, and come to my actual 6th birthday, she was like, "Oh, Mark, how does it feel to be 7?" I was like, "I'm 6 years old. What are you talking about?" But by then we were so close, there's no turning back. So yeah, started classically. I've been around jazz all my life because my dad's a jazz vocalist, and I've been around, the church all my life growing up. So I had the music in my ear, but I was really it was fostered from taking classical lessons with Rosalie, and just being around, my dad and all the music that he was always kind of forcing me to be around and hear around the house and everything. So it was all my family's musical. My uncle was supposed to be one of the Pips for Gladys Knight. He was actually her high school sweetheart, Winston Meadows. He's in her autobiography and everything. But my grandma wouldn't let him travel because she was like, "You got to finish school." So, yeah, it's man, music for me is not. There's no start date, end date. It's just always been there.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. So,
Yeah.
when people hear Mark's music, what are you trying to get them to feel, to experience?
I'm trying to get them to feel my unique life experiences. I come from a kind of unique background in that I was born in D.C. in a predominantly black area, and then I moved to Dallas when I was 5 years old to a predominantly white area. But every single summer and every Christmas, my parents were split, so I would spend my summers and Christmas holidays in Washington, D.C. in like all black area, and then I'd spend the school year in the suburbs of Dallas, of Richardson, Texas, to be exact. And so I was kind of always transplanted back and forth between these two completely different cultures. And as a kid, I've learned to adapt, and the older I get, the more secure and grounded I feel. But with that unique life experience, and also with my amazing, I've been blessed with many, many different experiences and have overcome a lot of challenges. And so I want people to feel what that feels like, because I think that's what kind of comes out in my writing, my unique perspective, my love and joy that I've had from these perspectives. And I'd say I have like message music. My music normally serves some kind of deeper message that I want people to receive, and it's really what I've been through. So I'd say it's a culmination of a message, and it's also just an honest perspective of what I've gone through, be it good or bad, and trying to have people actually feel what I felt.
Interesting. So you're like flip-flopping between these two cultures, grasping from each side. So you kind of create this you kind of have this different mix. Interesting.
Yeah, but I would come back after summer transformed. I go from wearing Adidas to white tees, and then all my Texas friends were like, "Mark, why you got what is in hair?"
So what would you say was probably, if it's one or two, the hardest struggle you had to overcome?
Definitely one of them was when I was a freshman in college. My best friend, who was a year under me, he was a senior in high school when I was a freshman. Amazing drummer. Had a full ride to like the New School and Manhattan School of Music. He was like that cat. He was like that, up and coming drummer that everybody was talking about. He died tragically in an accident, and man, that was real tough. Not only losing your best friend, but also your freshman year of college. That's kind of a big thing to happen with the big transition that college is, and also just me not being able to be there was really tough.
Mm.
So I've written one song on my second album entitled the album's Something Good. The song's called Way Up Here. That's a song that I wrote for him. Whenever we played together, in high school, I say, James, man, how was my solo? Because like everybody in high school was all insecure.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, bro, like how that solo sounds? Like, Mark, you way up here, man. You always way up here. And he always said that to me. So I wrote a song called Way Up Here. Yeah.
So did this kind of like influence you or affect you musically?
I think it influenced my drive
Mm.
because I know that he missed out on an opportunity to show the world his artistry.
Mm.
It kind of was like, I gotta carry the weight for both of us. So it just kind of put this fire in me. And, whenever I still talk to his mom like every now and then. And she always, tells me, do it for James, do it for Boo. And it pushes me.
Awesome. So who would you say was kind of your support system? Like the people around
Man,
you that kind of.
I've got the biggest support system out of any musician. My family first and foremost. My dad is a huge support system. In fact, I didn't go to school for music. I went to school for psychology, and my dad was kind of like, "What? Like, you ain't going after all these lessons I paid for?" But I think he knew deep down in his heart that eventually I'd come back to it, which I did. And between him and my mom always telling me, I knew from day one you were going to be great. Like she said it was, I knew from conception it's funny and all. But and then my all the churches I've been involved in and all throughout my youth, my friends, my high school. I still have people that supported me from the age of 12 that still come out to my shows, whenever in different cities, they'll surprise me. So I've got support everywhere.
That's great, man, because that's not usually a regular thing. You know what I mean? Like the people who, sometimes you get to a certain level and sometimes you don't really see those people as a whole different group of people that support you.
I so far I guess I'm another fortunate son. I've still got support everywhere.
Oh, that's what's up. What's up? So, how did the church affect your music?
Oh man, it affected everything about my music. I think it affected the way I listen. I think it affected the way I respond musically. I think it affected the emotional content. I think the church is I'm not one. The church is the best school for music because you play music with purpose in the church. You play music. First of all, it's technically as advanced as music can get. And secondly, when you're playing, a lot of times what people miss out, I think, from going to college is that emotional, spiritual part of the music, which is the most important part. When you're playing in church and you got people shouting and dancing and jumping and you're playing and try to exude that energy, it changes the way you approach the instrument. It changes the way you approach the entire platform. And so I think whenever I play, people, if anyone that has seen me play knows that I'm full of joy when I play. I'm full of emotion. I'm moving. I'm in it. And I think a lot of that comes from the church.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So, are you still like playing heavily in churches and stuff like that?
Man, it's funny you say that. No, I've not been playing in church for about 3 years now.
Okay.
I played from the age of 14 until I was like 23. And so when I moved to DC about 4 years ago, and ever since then I've really tried to embrace my career. And unfortunately, early Sundays are tough for a jazz musician.
Yeah.
And I've been doing some traveling, and it's still with me, and I still listen a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's on a brief pause right now. I think eventually I'll probably play in church again.
Okay, so who would you say was some of your top musical influences?
Oh man, I'd definitely say Herbie Hancock is a huge influence. Gene Harris amazing jazz pianist, Stevie Wonder, especially when it comes to my songwriting. I sing as well, and I'd say my lyrical content and my melodies are very Stevie influenced. Um, my dad, Gabriel Meadows, whose
Okay.
birthday was actually yesterday. He's a big influence on me. Um, Keith Jarrett, Chick Corea, Robert Glasper for sure. Uh, a lot of the people that I play with, people like
Okay.
a lot of DC local people like Akuya Ulrich and Chris Fun and Warren Wolf. Um, Everybody in my band, CV DeShiel, Brent Burkhead. Pretty much whenever I play, I really like to say that whatever I play is kind of what my band has influenced me with because I listen a lot, and so
Mm.
I'm hearing what they've been feeding me for the past 3 years, and so that's what's coming out of me.
So when you made your first album, like what was that like? How did that come about?
Well, my first album actually was kind of more so produced by my dad. I was in high school when I did my first album,
Mm.
and so the first album, it was great. I'm proud of it, but it was a different sound, a very different sound, I think, than my second album. Whereas my second album was all me. I was an adult. I was out of grad school, and that was kind of the first real album experience, I think, in terms of like me actually holding the reins.
Okay.
It was great. It was fun. It was tough. It was revealing. It was humbling. It's a whole. People don't understand how much work goes into those things. It's more than a portfolio. It's a statement of everything you've done in your career. Um, that's out there forever. So yeah, it was a great experience, and I'm glad I did it. And I need to do my fourth. I got 3 albums out, and the fourth one's on its way.
Okay. Okay. So in regards to like getting your album together, like what was like the hardest part about that?
Really, the details was the
Mm.
hardest part. The music is, and it's not easy, but the music is what we know how to do. It's the song licensing and
Mm.
copyright and barcode and IUPC code and all that technical, the artwork and credits and publishing and all that. That's the work.
It's funny you say that. That's the truth, because I'm running into that right now, because I'm a
Yeah.
designer. I'm a designer,
Okay.
but because I sing, I'm actually working
Okay.
on a project right now, and it's
Oh,
funny.
dope.
It's funny you say that. When you said the music is the music, like you go and you record, and that's basically it.
Yeah.
But the other
Yeah.
stuff, the split
Yeah.
sheets
And
and
in the
all
music,
of
there's a right and a wrong.
that.
You know, the music is like this is right, this is not right.
Right.
The art, it's like no, well you could make it green. No, well you could make it black and white. It's like oh god.
Yeah, so it's funny you say that. That is probably the toughest part about creating any kind of project. Really, it's just the publishing, the split sheets, the all of that stuff.
Oh yeah, oh
so
yeah.
so what you got coming? What's coming next? You got this number 4 coming. Like, when is that coming out? Can you tell us a little bit of what it's about?
Yeah, sure. So it's definitely going to be in 2018.
Hmm.
I don't have a specific date yet, but I've already got a few tracks that I've been doing. I've done a few tribute shows. One tribute show has been to Stevie Wonder,
Hmm.
so I've got some Stevie Wonder music that I've rearranged. I've got some original music. My past album was entitled "To the People," and it was a very social justice conscious album,
Ooh.
which I'm proud of, and I think that needed to be heard, and I'm glad I got that off my chest. But now I'm at a state where, with everything going on, I'm trying to get a little bit more joy out there,
Mm.
and so I think this next album is going to be, it's going to, it's not going to have as many serious overtones as this last one. It's going to be a little more, let's smile, let's laugh, let's dance. I kind of want it to make people move, but still hold true to what jazz is and what I am to the core, which is a jazz musician who improvises and feeds off of the moment.
So are you doing vocals on this too? Or is
Hmm.
okay.
But I'm also going to be using some other vocalists to collaborate with.
Okay.
I've been doing some things called a band together series,
Hmm.
which is where I collaborate with another artist and we collaborate on each other's music.
Hmm.
They sing mine, I sing and or play theirs, and we kind of create a joint. It's almost like a co-bill, but a little more personal. Because generally, when I do these band together series, often it will be just duo, or it will be a
Hmm.
more intimate setting, so we can really kind of vibe off of each other and use our own music to, our own artistry to influence the composition of the other person.
Okay, cool. So what advice would you have for musicians?
I would say, always be true to your craft, whatever that might be. Always stay strong in your artistry because that's what keeps you grounded. That's
Hmm.
kind of what keeps you whole. And then also, stay organized. Um, Keep those contacts. Keep the, just have everything stored and written down somewhere. Everything. I don't whether or not it's business related, practice related, contacts, reaching out, deadlines, just something about writing it down and being organized, and has setting goals and checking in with those goals. A lot of times, what we do is, we'll write a goal January 2nd, everybody's, and then you don't visit them until December 31st. And so I think often, every I at least like every season try to check in with my goals and see what I did, what I didn't do, modify. If I didn't meet them, then maybe next time I set goals, maybe tone it down a bit.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, man, I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really appreciate you coming on, man. I like what you're
Oh
doing.
man, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Sorry for the delay.
Oh man, don't worry about that. But man, thanks for coming on. We definitely keep in touch. Like what you're doing. Listen to a
Appreciate it.
couple of your music. Listen to you on your Instagram. Like what you're doing,
Oh,
man.
cool.
Like
Hey,
what you're doing.
appreciate it.
So for sure,
Appreciate it.
man, keep in touch. Safe travels.
Thanks, Daryl. Best of luck, man.
All right, blessings.
All right, likewise.
I want to say thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. If you want to get in touch with me, you can reach me at DP Creates on Instagram or Twitter. And please leave me a review on iTunes because that helps the podcast to grow. Thanks again. Be blessed.